My name is Eden Full. I'm 21 years old, and I still have much to learn about the world. I'm still trying to figure out what my place is in the world, but I guess I kind of wanted to walk you through my journey a little bit, and maybe that can give you some suggestions for how you're going to find your place in the world. So I'm a rising junior at Princeton University this fall, and I actually took 2 years off of school in order to pursue my passion. And so the one thing that I really want you to think about is this, right? I feel like there's this dichotomy. People are always like, you gotta drop out. No, you gotta stay in. It's not like that. It's not that complicated. Or, I think there's just a happy medium. And so for me, I had this idea. The SunSlitter is a device that rotates solar panels without using any electricity for use in off-grid areas in developing countries. And it will provide you with 40% more electricity because it allows your solar panel to rotate from east to west every day. And it also provides clean water. So I've been working in the solar industry for about 10, 11 years now. And I didn't know anything about solar panels. I didn't know anything about where to start or what to begin. My mom bought me this car kit, this solar car kit for like a little tabletop car. And basically, it would go from one end of my room to the other. And I was really fascinated by how it would, it would charge up the battery to a certain extent, but then it would be really limited. So I was wondering, what are some ways that I can get more electricity out of my solar panels? So I went on Google, and that was about around the time when Google started getting really popular. We started using it in elementary school, and I realized that if I just typed solar cars or like solar panels into Google, I could figure out everything that I needed to know, even though it had nothing to do with what I was learning in school, and no one had ever told me about it before. And so over the next few years, I kind of iterated on different ideas related to moving solar panels, optimizing solar panels, and I realized that the only way to really do it is to move it. So this was my very first prototype made out of materials I bought at Home Depot with my dad. And so it's been a really, really step-by-step process, right? When I present the SunSlitter to you as that idea at first, it seems really cohesive. But really, I went on Google. That was step one. And I built things from Home Depot, step two. So afterwards, I had an opportunity to get connected with Ashoka, and where I got to present my idea, which was just an idea at the time, and this little prototype, to a lot of great members of Ashoka Fellows. And that was a chance where I actually got to meet Bill Drayton himself, and I really looked up to Bill. And he's become an incredible mentor to me now, but I remember that first moment where I realized, wow, I'm meeting someone that I really look up to, and I could be like him. So I applied to college using the SunSlitter idea, and got into college and had a chance to actually go to Kenya with the support of an internship that my professor gave me. I did a lot of research for him, but on the side, I actually decided, well, why not deploy the SunSlitter as well? So I felt like it was a great way to engage existing opportunities and add a little bit of something else in. And that was a way to kind of gradually evaluate if the SunSlitter was something I was genuinely interested in. And so Kenya is a really great place to prototype the first SunSlitter because it's right on the equator, so there's a lot of sunlight, and so the environment is really controlled for me to actually figure out, do people need solar? Are you going to get that much solar electricity if you face a panel towards the sun? And what's it really like out there? And this was the first time I'd ever been off the continent. So I worked with members of this village called Impala in Kenya, and so I got all these guys to do heavy lifting for me, and we worked together to put the SunSlitter together and actually figure out where it was going to go, how we were going to stop their kids from taking it apart, all of these little things that I hadn't thought about before. But one thing I feel like this really distinct moment for me was when I met a woman in Impala, and she showed me these 3 solar lanterns she had. So one she would give to her husband to do stuff, one she would give to her kids to study, and one she would kind of use for herself to, do chores around the house at night. And so this, and she was telling me that, this solar panel that came with these 3 lanterns, it's great and all, it can charge 2 of the lanterns and maybe half of the 3rd one. And so I was like, oh, well, that's really obvious. I'll just build you a SunSlitter, right? And so I went into town, I bought materials, and I came back. And I tried to find her again and realized that I couldn't. So I went to her neighbor's house and asked, where is she? And her neighbor told me, well, the other night she wandered into the dark because her lantern wasn't working, but she still needed to collect firewood for her kids, and she got trampled by a buffalo. So that, I feel like, before, when I was building SunSlitters and traveling and visiting people, it was all kind of fun and games, but then this happened and made me realize something that I'm actually doing could make a difference, right? I could stop this from happening to other people ever again. And I think that was really what kind of sparked the idea in me that this is something I need to take seriously and work on. And maybe this is my place in the universe. So we ended up deploying this pilot project together, figured out a way to kind of secure the parts and wrap everything in bubble wrap, as you can see, so the kids won't play with it. And we figured all of that out, and I felt like, wow, I got something on the ground. Maybe there's something more I can do. And I realized that I had these 2 passions. I had this passion for building stuff that I'd had since I was a kid, but by going to Kenya, I'd realized that I also had this passion for people. And when I combine 2 of those things together, I can invent and create appropriate technologies that are socially and culturally relevant to the places that might actually need them the most. And so one thing that I realized in this big epiphany I had was that I need more time. If I'm stuck in college, going to class, doing problem sets, I'm not going to have time in my day to be traveling to Kenya to help people. So, okay. But I'll just take some time off. And there was this opportunity called the Teal Fellowship, where I could stop out of college for 2 years and I'd get a living stipend to make sure that my expenses are covered and I can pursue whatever I want for 2 years, no strings attached. And I ended up getting this fellowship, which changed my life. And over the past 1.5 years that I've been on the fellowship program, I've had a chance to find teammates. So this is one of my teammates, Yi, and we traveled to Tanzania together to deploy a new version of the SunSlitter that we created that I wouldn't have had the time to do if I was stuck in college. And we had an opportunity to also partner with an organization called One Mama in Uganda to deploy a SunSlitter in a maternity clinic where they're trying to teach women to become better midwives. And so, this was a really incredible, I feel like, a process for me, where I started from, building something in my basement to taking time off from school, building a team, and then now I'm actually working with real, legitimate organizations. Wow, this is becoming, something that I really am passionate about, and I want to keep doing. So for a little bit more information for you about the SunSlitter, for a 60-watt panel, for example, you can charge 1 extra solar lantern if you have 40% more electricity, or that's 2 extra cell phones than you otherwise normally would have, or an extra 12-volt battery. Plus, you also get 4 liters of clean water out of this. And how this works is at the beginning of the day, you'd pour water into the east side of the solar panel so that the panel's facing east. And then there's a valve that controls the flow rate. So there's dirty water that flows from a bucket attached to the panel into a water filter that's mounted on the ground. And basically, as the solar panel turns throughout the day, because the balance is changing, you get your solar panel rotating, and you get 40% more electricity, and then you get clean water as well. So thanks. I want to now kind of go over my process in general so that maybe you can start thinking about things for you to find your place in the world. The first step was, for me, that was applying for college, applying for the Teal Fellowship, just applying for a crap ton of things. And I probably submitted like 50, 60 different applications, and really, realistically, I've only ever gotten like 3 or 4 opportunities out of those 50 or 60. But, you know, I keep an active like Twitter feed and like Google alert search going to kind of keep finding opportunities, and you've got to be persistent. Not everyone's going to like you. The second thing you got to do is you got to Google stock. So if you don't know something, that's totally okay. No one knows anything when they're getting started. Don't let that be a barrier, right? Look up people in in the field that you really are passionate about. Find them on LinkedIn. Find them through a conference. That's how I met Bill. And I think there are ways to get connected to people who have experience and expertise, and that's a way for you to really get started in finding your place. And step 3 is just execute, right? I mean, I think it's all about baby steps. Don't think about some big, bold, grand picture that you might not have. Think about something small. Start that Google search, see where that leads you, and then keep following until you get your next opportunity. So for me, in 2013, my goals are I want to deploy 200 SunSlitter units to impact 15,000 villagers this year. I want to keep building out our team. I want to establish a manufacturing subsidiary in a local country so that these can be made and assembled locally. And I want to start thinking about how the SunSlitter might be able to impact on a global health level. And another thing that I've realized, though, in setting all of these goals is I don't know enough. So I'm going to go back to college in the fall. And I think in the past year and a half, I've really realized that college can mean a lot for me. Now I'm finding why these classes that I'm taking in fluid mechanics and thermodynamics are actually important, right? They help me understand how to build better SunSlitters. So, go to college if you find that there's a meaning for it, and just make sure that you're not wasting away your time in those classes. So I think that there are 3 things you need to succeed in the world. If you have Google, if you have love, and you have a little bit of courage to take some risks, I think you're going to do just fine. Thank you.